How are you guys doing? Reggie here. It is March 7th and it is New Comic Wednesday. I did something today that I don't think that I've ever done. I went to the comic book store on Wednesday. I worked from home today to take care of one of my kids who's a little under the weather, and had a chance to break away from the house for a little while, swung by the comic book store, and I got the pick of the litter today. Don't think I've ever done that before. That is, go to the comic book store actually on Wednesday, so today was a big day. I'm also doing something new today. I actually have better lighting for this video. I realized my previous videos were a little dark, so I set up a light here, and we'll see how this goes. It looks a little bit better already. So I want to show you guys today the books that I picked up, but before I get there, I want to talk about a couple of things. I have been doing something a little bit different the last several weeks. I've been talking to my local comic book shops a lot more. I use Instagram a lot for my fitness related activities, but I've been using Instagram to also talk to my local comic book shops. And I've been trying to keep the dialogue open with these guys because they are in the know about the books that are coming up. They're in the know about the variants, about the new titles, about the storylines. And so I've been using these guys to help me to get up to speed on what's coming out, to also ensure that if there's a good book that's coming out, that I know about it and I also get a copy of it. So I've set up a couple of pull services with a few of the local stores to make sure that I get books like The Amazing SpiderMan and Thanos, which are incredibly hot right now. But they've also been very instrumental, like I said, in helping me kind of get up to speed on some of the things that are happening. One of them actually gave me, and you guys may see this, the previews book from Marvel. This has been very helpful in terms of allowing me to see what's coming out in the next month or so, and also to be able to give my local shops an order or a request that certain books be ordered for me to ensure that I have them. So that's been very helpful. I'm actually going to show you guys a couple of books that these guys have identified for me that I did not know about, but also some books that they set to the side for me because they knew that I had a certain interest. And to be honest with you, it has worked out really well. It's been a win-win. They sell some books. I get some books that I really want that I otherwise would have to go to eBay for and pay a lot more than cover price. So it's working out quite nicely. At least I think that it is. Before I show you guys the new books, I wanted to show you a book that has been in my possession since I guess around 92, 91 is my guess. This has been a book that has been in my collection for a very long time, and I hadn't seen the book in a while, but I could literally still like close my eyes and remember what the cover of this book looked like because it's such an iconic book in my mind from my own personal collection. And I was reminded of this book recently 2 times. I was reminded because I was watching a video just today, and the guy showed this book, and it was a book that I had from my own collection. He was talking about how pleased he was that he had an opportunity to purchase this book. And I realized that, I'm pretty lucky because I have purchased some of these books for cover price directly from the shelves back in the day, and they've been in my possession all this time, and I didn't pay a tremendous amount of money for them. So the other time was maybe 2 weeks ago. There was a lot of discussion around a variant cover featuring the Incredible Hulk and a large rat. And to be honest with you, I kind of liked the cover. I thought it was a decent variant cover, much better than that homage to the Incredible Hulk and Wolverine fight. But I thought it was a decent cover. I actually would have purchased it had I, seen it in the stores or been able to access it. But I'm clearly talking about Dale Keown, I guess is how you say his last name. And the book that I'm speaking about is Incredible Hulk number 377. This is, to me, an incredibly gorgeous book. It really is. The neon green cover, the pink wording, and the grayed out Hulk just pop right off of the page there. And as you can see, there is actually a signature there. What's interesting is I remember picking this book up off the shelf, but I don't remember getting that signature. So clearly at some point I met Dale and got his signature. Clearly it was in 92 because that's when he wrote here in, below his signature of the year. But I honestly don't remember meeting this man. So what's interesting is I'm a little bit of an introvert. I was probably more so of an introvert when I was younger. And I probably waited in line for a while, went up to the table, set my books down, got my signature from him, probably said thank you, and just simply walked away. Probably didn't even engage him in any kind of dialogue or conversation because I literally cannot remember getting that signature. And again, this book has been in my possession for a long time and don't recall it at all. I'm actually going to go back through some of my boxes and see what other signatures I may have from him because I guess that I would not have stood in line for simply one signature, but you never know. So good book. And again, I don't think this book is worth very much, but I'm very happy to have it in my collection. I'm actually thinking about sending it to CBCS because I think they verify signatures, and then I'll get it encapsulated so that I can have this book for a very long time. And it's in really, really great shape. I haven't taken it out of the plastic, but just looking at it from the front, it appears to be in really good shape. Minus one little ding down here in this corner. But anyway, on to the new books. If you guys have seen any of my videos, you guys know that I'm a fan of a couple of things. Mutants, specifically XMen, and also Amazing Spider-Man. So we are going to start off with those books today. I picked up X-Men Gold number 23. I actually picked up number 22, I think it was last month. Story was pretty good, so I decided to get 23, so I'm looking forward to reading this book. I also picked up X-Men Red. They have the teams, I guess it's red, gold, and blue. I've read some of the others, but by far I think that Red is probably my favorite storyline. So I picked up number 1 last month. This time I picked up number 2. And it is a pretty nice cover there of featuring Nightcrawler. So I'm looking forward to reading this book. So the next stack of books is Amazing Spider-Man. And I actually picked up several copies of this, including some variants that I'll show you guys. The first is, of course, Amazing Spider-Man number 797. And it's my understanding, maybe you guys can tell me, that the Red Goblin actually does not make an appearance in this book. So I have a feeling that they're probably going to stretch this out to 800, possibly 801. So we'll see what happens. But I have not one, but I have 2 copies of 797, the basic cover. And I also picked up 3 variants. And again, these variants were made available to me. 2 of them for cover price, 1 a little bit more. But because one of the local comic book shops knows that I'm a huge fan of Amazing Spider-Man, I put in a pull order for the regular, and they set aside the variants for me. So this is the first one. I actually don't even know who the artist is, but I really like this cover featuring Spider-Man and also Hobgoblin. I think it's really, really well done. Maybe you guys know who it is and you can tell me. The other is one, watched a couple of videos online, and people seem to have mixed feelings or emotions about this cover, this variant cover, but I think it's a really cool one. It's actually a Thor cover featuring Venom and Thor. I think it's actually pretty cool. Folks, for whatever reason, don't care for it, but I think that it's a pretty solid cover. And then last one, I paid more than cover price for this. It was a book that I saw highlighted in a couple of YouTube channels that I watch, where they were talking about all the variants that were coming out. Didn't think, of course, that I would be able to get it, but my guy, when I walked in, was like, I've been saving this book for you. And it is the Red Goblin cover from Ed McGuinness. Hopefully you can see that serious glare. But it is really a nice cover here. I have a version similar to this, and I don't know if it's by Ed, but it's a Miss Marvel cover, very similar to this, that I actually sent off to CGC to have graded and encapsulated. I just really like this style of cover for whatever reason. To me, it's almost like the illustrator sat down and started to like doodle, what they wanted the character to look like. It's almost like a sketch pad of thoughts. Looking at him from the front, from the back, looking at different head positions. It's just, to me, it's a different cover, and I like it. It's simple, it's clean, it makes a good use of white space, and I'm a huge fan of that. So very happy to have this one in the collection. Looking forward to reading those, of course. So the next one is a book that I picked up, and of course it's still in the family of Spider-Man. It is Venom number 163. It is the conclusion of Poison X. This cover is actually okay, not really blown away by it, but I picked up, I think it was 163. I thought the story was pretty good. I thought the Poisons storyline was interesting. I've also been reading Venomverse, or Edge of Venomverse, on Marvel Unlimited, so I'm kind of sort of getting into the idea. So I saw this when I picked it up. Actually picked up two, because I had it on two different pull lists, so I didn't want to tell the guys no, so I just ended up buying both copies of it. So hopefully it'll be a good book. We'll see. And then the last two books that I have here that I'll show you are two books. One that I sent one of my guys a message on Instagram, was like, hey, do you have this book? And the reason for it was because I was watching the videos, of course, on YouTube, and someone was highlighting how they missed this book the previous week, but then started talking about the potential importance of this book long term. And it is a title I had honestly never heard of. I probably would have never purchased this book in a million years, but I purchased it because there is the potential for this to be a key, minor key, major key, who knows, at some point in the future, if they actually do something with this character. And it's my understanding it's this character's first appearance. And I am talking about Moon Girl 28, specifically the appearance of Omnipotus. And it is not the most attractive cover. It's a very interesting cover here, but this is Omnipotus back here. Hopefully the visuals on the inside are much better than what I'm seeing here on the cover. But according to the video that I watched on YouTube, there is Galacticus, who is the destroyer or the consumer of worlds, and there is the Omnipotus, who is the devourer of universes. So this character is supposedly, stronger, more powerful than even Galacticus. So we shall see what happens with this. Hopefully the story is interesting. Maybe they do something with the character in the future. But what's interesting is I actually jumped on eBay, and they actually had these books selling today for anywhere between $30 and $100. And this wasn't offer price. These were sale prices that I was looking at on eBay. And I don't know why anyone would pay $100 for this, but someone clearly is, of the opinion that there is some potential money to be made here, potentially, long term. But people are buying these books up. I understand that the print run is relatively low on this. And I was lucky enough to get this thing for cover price right from my store, and it's $3.99 cover price. If it were $100, I probably would not buy it, to be honest with you. But one of the interesting things I think is that we have the ability now to buy some of these current books, these modern books, at cover price. And first appearances and some of the variant covers, if you purchase them smartly, my belief is that not only can you enjoy the book, but if it becomes worth something in the future, then that's even better. And I'm not doing it for speculation purposes per se, but like anything else, why pay a lot more for something in the future when you can buy it much cheaper today and actually get to enjoy it today? So who knows, maybe I'll look back 10 years from now and pat myself on the back for having bought this book. Maybe 10 years from now I'll look back and say, how are you so stupid to spend $4 on a book? But who knows? The other book that I picked up was one that the shop kind of gave me a heads up on. I sent them a message and I said, hey, is there anything else that I'm not aware of that you think is going to be really cool to read or might be hot? Oblivion Song was one of the ones that they mentioned to me from Robert Kirkman, and I think Robert Kirkman is actually the guy behind Walking Dead. So this supposedly is, I guess, a post-apocalyptic kind of story, and they say that the story is really good. So we'll see. It seems like it's a relatively thick book, so and it's the number one, and so there may be a very good, solid foundation that they're trying to lay with the size of this book. So we'll see. It's an interesting cover, and maybe there's a wonderful story to be told inside. So. Last thing I want to say is there was a guy that gave me a heads up on one of my videos, and he pointed me to one of his videos, and he was actually talking about that Incredible Hulk book that I showed you guys earlier today. But he also, at the end of his video, attached a clip of Torpedo Comics in Vegas. He went to Torpedo. I've heard of Torpedo, but I've never been there. I've never seen it. But he, shot some footage inside of their vault in the back. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it was incredible. The books that they had in this vault were unbelievable in terms of the quality of the books and the quantity of the books. There were some incredible books in there. If you haven't been to this place, I encourage you to check it out. I actually want to go to Vegas now, and I'm not a fan of Vegas, but I want to go so that I can go to this store. And I have a feeling that if I do go, I am going to spend some money, just because there is so much eye candy and there are so many grails in this place. So if you guys have been there, if you shot some footage, if you have some videos on YouTube, let me know, because I want to check them out. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for sticking with me. I want to thank you for watching the video. I want to thank you for all the comments that you put below the video. I am really enjoying this community. I am newly back into comic books, but I've been welcomed very quickly by all of you, and I want to say thank you for that.